Now, from what I can tell, pre-drinks is quite a distinctly British thing. So for any non-Brits out there who don't understand the wonderful concept of pre-drinks, please allow me to culturally educate you. A pre-drinks is commonly known as this social gathering that people have where they get together and drink before they go out and get together with other people and drink. It's genius. It's brilliant. So this is why it's called the pre-drinks, because you're drinking before the drinks, although you are drinking at the pre-drinks, so technically the drinking has started, but it's not started at the time that it was agreed that it would start. So it's just chaos, and it's just beautiful. But that's the gist of what it is. It takes many different forms, but the basis is that there is some kind of social event where you're going to go drinking, and you as a group get together and drink before the other social event. And from what I can tell, Europeans, Americans and Australians just can't understand the concept of drinking before the drinking. Like, it's all just drinking. Why do you have to do it before? They just don't get it. They don't understand it. So today I'm here to unironically tell you that it's one of the best parts of modern British culture, and I will not hear otherwise. See, we, like the Irish, we know how to party properly. Now, you might just tend to write off the obsession of the British and the Irish with this idea of pre-drinking as just a symptom of an alcoholic, binge-drinking culture, and you'd be entirely correct. But that's not all there is to it. There's something more at play, I'm telling you, and these pre-drinks, they often are superior to the nights out that follow them, and in my opinion, they should be a global, worldwide phenomenon. Here's why. Reason number one is it's cheap. Pretty self-explanatory, this one. Putin invaded Ukraine a few years ago, and for that reason, apparently, everything including something as mundane and simple as a meal deal has to skyrocket in price. So yes, the price of going out and drinking in the UK and pretty much all other countries has become more and more extortionate, and hence it's much cheaper just to buy drinks from the shop and drink them at home. Getting drunk on cheap booze before you head out to a bar or a club is just plain common sense, something us Brits used to be known for, by the way, and it means you don't have to spend half as much when you're out. Okay, so it turns out that somehow in the process of uploading this footage from my phone to my laptop to edit the video, this little section of the video, the footage was just gone for some reason, unbeknown to me. So hello, here I am a few weeks later to basically fill in the blanks. So what I had said was that reason number two is that you actually get to socialise with your friends. Because ultimately, in a world of, social media, perception often garners a lot more value than reality. And a lot of people want to go to these places so that they can take a video or a photo to put up on their story to show other people that, they're doing something with their Saturday night, rather than actually mingling with anyone there. Anyway, that's all the footage that I lost. So my work here is done. Back to you, previous Samuel. There's a saying that the consumer drives the market, and I don't think it's any coincidence that nightclubs have become this place of just mind-numbing overstimulation where, there's just ridiculously loud and bang average music just blasting on the speakers and strobe lighting everywhere, and just it's basically an environment that's designed to be impossible to talk to anyone. Not even your friends that you came with. And you can say what you want about them, and I do as well, but the fact is that clubs that have designed themselves this way have consistently gotten repeat customers. So there's something going on here that on some level, people seem to want this. But it is near impossible to have an actual audible conversation with anyone, no matter how close the proximity. Communication in these places are generally relegated to slow swaying or fist pumping, or using those universal coded gestures towards your mates to communicate something. I'm going for a piss. Recently, I went out with some old uni mates from Liverpool, and we had a pre-drinks, but this one lad was working, so he could only meet us when we were already in town. And I remember he turned up, and we were at this nightclub for like hours, and I was with him dancing there for hours. And then I remember waking up the next morning, and I messaged him because I went, we never actually caught up, at all, during that evening when he just met us when we were out. We never even had a proper conversation. So for those of you who, actually enjoy talking to your friends, this is an environment where you can do that. It's a great chance to actually have banter with them and talk about anything and everything and play drinking games with them and, just behave like a group of friends together, before you all go out into the void of, noise and strobe lighting. Reason number 3, British people are socially awkward. And I must say, I am purely talking about the Brits here because the Irish are different animals. British culture is largely understated, right? We don't talk to strangers regularly when we're sober. We just don't do that unless it's an interaction where we're being served at a till or served at a restaurant where there's a clear transactional purpose behind the conversation and there's a clear structure of how it's going to go without the need to pry into each other's personal lives whatsoever. We don't like that. We are not like Americans. Hell, we're not even like the Irish. We, as a nation, when we are sober, in general, we tend not to like to be bothered or to bother anyone else. So we just don't have sober conversations with strangers. So when it comes to the time where we need to have, when we're at a gathering and we need to have a recreational conversation with a randomer, it doesn't work. We're not good at it because we never do it. It's just not part of our DNA, apparently. We've all been there when we've gone to a bar for some social event where you don't know people and for some reason or another you haven't had anything to drink before it. You've just not had time to have a pre-drinks or you've not been able to organise one, and you go in and there's just a natural uneasiness and just awkwardness about the room. Like everyone just resorts to some absolutely atrocious small talk. These enthralling topics of small talk often vary from how people managed to find their way to the establishment, what route did they take, what type of transport they used, or is everyone establishing everyone else's professions, which is just so much fun, or God forbid, the weather. Now, being tipsy upon arrival will mean that you're more socially lubricated, you're more relaxed and in a playful mood, and you're going to make a better impression initially on those people that you meet, and you're going to calm the mood down, you're going to get everyone laughing hopefully and relaxed, and you just start the night on such a better note. I'm not claiming it's a healthy choice, like charisma and social skills can be learned, and they are best learned when not using alcohol as a crutch, but I'm merely pointing out the advantages of using alcohol as a crutch. And we are so socially awkward as a nation that we have created another genius invention, right? The pre-drinks. Yes, you heard that correctly. We are now doing drinking before the drinking, which is usually followed by afters, which is a whole nother topic of conversation we'll get onto. But the pre-drinks is marvellous. It means you're nice and loosed up before you do the loosening up. It's just wonderful. It is wonderful. Reason number 4, it is much more fun than a night out. This is a philosophy that I live by and I will have no arguments, alright? The pre-drinks before a night out is better than the night out 90% of the time or more. And that's because you're surrounded by people that you actually know and that you like, and you're not surrounded by the public and you're not worried about what they think of you, so you just get up to the most daft, ridiculous things imaginable. You play drinking games, you dance on tables, you wrestle each other, whatever it is that floats your boat. You just do the most daft, ridiculous stuff without worrying of what that person from the table across from you thinks that you look like. None of that's there, and you're just more free and loosened up because you're in a contained and more fun environment with people that you get on with. You're just all free to be yourselves. You actually have personal space in there. You have your own tunes on, and you actually just get to hang out with your friends. You can also speak so much more freely as well. Like, you can say things that would ruin a celebrity's career like 3 times over, but because it's within the context of just chatting shite with your mates and it's not pointing at anyone directly, it's fine. You can just say it. And I'm not being funny, pre-drinks are often the part of the night you actually remember because you're less drunk. Reason number 5, you really solidify a friendship group. I did slightly refer to this in my nights out video, so I'll try not to cover the same stuff, but I think it works in this one on a different level because it's a different type of socialising. When you're at uni or college, or you're just with a group of mates that just all happen to live near each other, you go to these pre-drinks like on a semi-regular basis or on a very regular basis in some cases, and you form like a core group of who attends these pre-drinks, and then all the ridiculous stuff you get up to and all the fun stuff you have, you all grow closer together through all these shared experiences like I referred to on that nights out video. But in a prees, I think it's even better because you are in your own controlled environment. So you've got, like, you have your own traditional drinking games that you as a group like to play, that maybe your friends made up, and then there might be that one player who just seems to always get targeted in the drinking games, and it's that running inside joke. Or you've got that one mate who's always got the tunes on, or maybe you make a communal playlist. Like, there's so many different quirks that each group develops. Regardless, it just feels nice to be part of a group where you occasionally, or as I said, rather regularly, gather and do this specific thing together. And being at a pre-drinks with a group, it's more quality time in terms of getting to have prolonged conversations with them, with no distractions from what's going on around you. It's just better time spent, and you get to really know people really well when you go to these pre-drinks events as a group together, like 8, 9, 10 times. You just get to know people so much better than if you were just meeting up with them in a bar or a club. Also, another disclaimer, I am referring specifically to bars and nightclubs here, not pubs, alright? I am probably going to do a video on pubs at some point. They're a very different environment. Reason number 6, the classic pre-drinks gaff. As well as forming a regular group of people that attend these pre-drinks, you eventually develop the standard, the go-to house where the pre-drinks happens. If you're still living with family, it's often the one with the biggest house or the one with the most laid-back parents, and if you're living in uni accommodation, it's usually the ones with the most laid-back housemates, or it's the one with the biggest balls. Also, if your friend group has multiple friends living in the same accommodation, that's usually a very good shout. But eventually, after trial and error with a few different places, one special pre's gaff will emerge, and it will just become the default nights out pre-drinks gaff. Like, if you just arrange a pre-drinks, it won't even need to be said, it will just be naturally assumed this is where the pre-drinks is happening, unless the host of said place just suddenly says otherwise. Then all chaos and panic ensues and no one wants to host it. Now, this next part sounds weird, alright, but just go with me. The gaff that hosts these pre-drinks almost becomes its own part of the group. It holds all of the memories of the previous nights out, and when you're there, you automatically just feel happy because only like fun stuff happens when you're there. So being there means you're having a good time. Sometimes a group has a meetup in that place and they don't know that it's the last time. That makes me sad just saying it. And often you do know when it's the last time because, say, that person's going to be moving from the house, or it's the end of a year at uni, whatever the reason. When you have that last few drinks at that place, I can even think of an example in my head now. When you have those last drinks at that place, it does feel irrationally sad, because it's like you're just losing a part of the group. And it can become your second home, you know, it's the home of a version of you that you probably really like, because it's the outgoing, social, funny side of you that, you know, ends up there because you're drinking and having a good time with your friends. And, you know, for a lot of people who aren't in a good situation at home, like, you know, whether it's someone or something they're dealing with at home, you know, it's often a lovely place to go and escape from that. And you develop almost like a connection, not a connection, but like a sentimentality towards that gaff, and you miss it when it's gone. And moving on to a less soppy note on reason 7, look, it just paces the night well. As I've discussed, nights out and nightclubs can be very repetitive, and a lot of nightclubs and bars are pretty much the same. Having a pre-drinks beforehand, it gives the night a different dynamic. It just gives it like a different setting. Like it just gives it a bit of variety, rather than just spending like 4 hours in the same place at some nightclub. Like, it gives the night somewhere to go. It gives it a bit of organic build up, and then, you know, it organically escalates once everyone's drunk enough. They then decide, right, now we're going to go out, and then the night again just escalates from there, and it gives the night somewhere to go, and it just breaks the night up a little bit, and it just differentiates it into like different settings and different things going on. It's just fun, right? It just is good. Like, ultimately, I'd just say in a nutshell, pre-drinks, it's a good thing. Like, yeah, obviously, like, you should drink responsibly and not do stupid stuff, but at the end of the day, pre-drinks is a great way to just get to know your mates a bit more. And it's just, I think, as a concept, it's more fun than a night out, unless you're going, oh, I want to pull or anything like that, which, you know, fill your boots. Unless it's that kind of a night. Ultimately, I think pre-drinks with your actual friends, where you can just be yourselves and mess about, it's way cheaper, and when you do it and then go out somewhere else, you're just in a much better place to go into that night out, wherever it is, because you've had a few drinks, and not just the drinks, you've also had a laugh with your mates that you might just need to just get you in the mood for going someplace else where it's a bit packed and it's a bit stressful, it's a bit busy. You need to get yourself not just in more drunk, you need to get yourself into a better mindset, just to be able to enjoy yourself and to let your hair down and just relax. I think pre-drinks are bloody awesome. I really do. We don't invent many things in Britain anymore. However, this might be Britannia's final greatest invention.